UFC 326, Holloway versus Oliveira, number 2. This is going to be for the BMF title, taking place this Saturday. It's going down. This is a stacked card. Really excited. Good chance for, Charles Oliveira to maybe look for some revenge from that injury that took place during the first time. It's been over 10 years since they fought. Yeah, this is a good one. This is the people's the fighters, the people's fighters fight. This is what everyone wants to see right here. I'm very excited. Before we get into this, make sure you go follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Go shoot me a message through Gmail if you're looking to get the beat that you heard at the beginning of this video. Also, go on and follow the Discord for premium content, occasional picks and plays. Also, if you want every official play that I am dropping, you can find me on Juice Reels at RHYTHMBETZ. Let's get into the early prelims opener. We got Luke Fernandez taking on Rodolfo Bellato. Luke Fernandez is 30 years old with a 6-0 pro record. This is his UFC debut. Pretty well-rounded prospect, undefeated so far, obviously. Aggressive finisher, strong fundamentals overall. Decent wrestling, decent boxing, and I say decent because he hasn't shown it in the UFC yet. So if he goes out here and uses that decent wrestling and decent boxing, next breakdown I use with him, I'll be saying good or possibly great, but probably good because it's Rodolfo Bellato. Anyway, consistent forward pressure, trains with Alex Pereira before this fight. He's pretty defensively sound, so it seems. He had a first round KO in the Dana White's Contender Series where that pressure was just overwhelming for his opponent. He's coming from the Cage Fury Fight Club. He has one decision win and a second title defense in the CFFC. So it was a boring fight, a lot of fence wrestling in there, but it's kind of good to see that sometimes, someone go to decision, someone, I know it wasn't super eventful, but he maintained that pressure throughout the fight. And sometimes I like seeing that some of these guys who have, 6, 7 wins, 5 wins before, the UFC, it's good to see them going to a decision every here and there, showing that they can maintain a pace or, maintain some cardio. So kind of like that right there. All right. He's taking on Rodolfo Bellato, the Grammy Award winning fighter. He's 30 years old with a 12-3-1 pro record. His UFC record is 1-1-1. He's a pretty power striker. Heavy hands, forward pressure somewhat. Shows to be pretty durable outside of the Grammy Award winning, whatever you want to call that, with Paul Craig, that up kick that grazed his head and he acted like he went, on him. So anyway, he has decent striking, decent grappling defense. He lost to Vitor Petrino in the regional scene and in his first try in Dana White's Contender Series, both times being finished, I believe, or at least the first time for sure. He's not the fastest fighter, not the fattest either, and he's not the most technical. It's really just his durability and ability to just continue striking when even getting hit and getting forward pressure put on him, when he's taking that on the receiving end. So I think this fight has Luke Fernandez written all over it. It's definitely hard to back a guy who's, only has 1 win versus a guy who's really not that bad. I think I think Luke Fernandez, if he fought Jimmy Crute, it's hard to say how that would go, but yeah, I want to go Rodolfo Bellato by decision. That's what I really want to do. But at the same time, I just don't see it. I don't see it. And we're going to go Luke Fernandez here. I think he gets the job done. I think he just puts the pressure, gets Bellato hurt, gets him down to the ground. He has that clean boxing. Look at that. 100% significant strike action. Homie, don't miss. And I'll be honest, on my notes, I have Rodolfo Bellato, but I've been thinking about this fight a lot. Luke Fernandez by KO. He's going to get this job done pretty easily. Pretty all right. Good early prelim opener to this fight. Let's move on. We got Jung Young Lee taking on Gaston Bolaños. All right. This is gonna. I think this might be a little bit of a bang out here. All right. We got Gaston Bolaños, 33 years old with 8-5 pro record. He is 2-2 in the UFC. He is known as the Dream Killer. With an 8-5 record, I would say some of his dreams have been killed. Anyway, he's a Muay Thai-based fighter. Got sharp kicks, technical striking. He is a Bellator veteran. If you go look on ESPN and go look at his fight record, it's albeit Bellator and UFC, so pretty, I guess, good level competition for most of his pro career, which looks pretty good. He lacks kind of in the grappling department, so what I've seen, kind of like when you see him, not on this picture, but once you see him fighting, he's like a off-brand Ilya Taporia, you know, not as good, not as good looking, just, you know, won't ever be that caliber. You know how there's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then there's just like the cinnamon crunchers, or you know, that's Gaston Bolaños. Anyway, good striking though, pretty mid fighter. Where he excels, this is Muay Thai, the clinch striking, the elbows, that, you know, the grapple striking. That's really where he excels. That's where he does the best. Outside of that, it's just hard to judge. You know, Marcus McGee put the brakes on him in that first round. Ended up beating him overall in that fight, and yeah, his striking's all right. He closes the distance pretty well, but one thing I haven't seen from him is he doesn't put together like a lot of crazy combinations. So we'll see how that goes versus Jiyoung Yeung Lee. He's 30 years old. He's an 11-3 pro fighter with a 1-1 UFC record. I want to say he came from the UFC, the road to UFC. Overall, he's pretty well rounded. He has pretty good speed, balanced attack, in and out striking with some clean combinations, consistent leg kicks. He's a pretty technical boxer. One thing I really liked about his fight versus Daniel Santos, he was ripping liver shots, and those looked pretty good. And I really like throwing those into your boxing combinations, because you know that really can worry your opponent there when you're just ripping those shots to the body. So I think that looked pretty good. He's definitely willing to exchange. I think he welcomes it. He smiles and gets into it. And he has that one loss versus Hyder Emil in the UFC, but he's the one loss to Hyder Emil in the UFC. But if you like watch the fight, it was just, you know, they were kind of coming out. They started to swing. I think he got just a little overconfident and traded with the wrong guy, and Hyder Emil did not stop. He emptied the gas tank on him and was able to put him out on his feet. I don't think he makes that same mistake here. I don't think Gaston Bolaños has the same threat that Hyder Emil brings to the table. So for those reasons, I'm out. No. Jiyoung Young Lee by decision. He's just the more technical boxer. This should be a battle on feet. Honestly, I don't see this fight going to the ground at all. Maybe a panic takedown attempt, but overall, I see this just being a bang out. And I think overall, Jiyoung Young Lee will get the volume, the higher amount of volume. As you can see, he has the slightly higher significant strikes landed per minute, even though Gaston has the better accuracy here. Yeah, I don't really see a knockout happening in this. Maybe, who knows? But I'm gonna go Jiyoung Yeung Lee by decision. Now that's over for the early prelims. Let's get into the prelims. Now we got Sumadarji taking on Jesus Aguilar. Sumadarji is 30 years old with an 18-7 pro record. He is 5-4 in the UFC. He is the Tibetan Eagle. He's a striker though, long reach for the division. Sharp counters. He evades strikes pretty well. Very defensively sound. He's pretty good off the back foot. There's been some moments, don't get me wrong, where certain fighters have been able to get the best of him in that position, but overall, he, you know, those check hooks seem pretty decent, and he looks to get some good counters, like, you know, I said earlier, uh, when getting pressured. So, you know, kind of iffy on that, but pretty good. He does prefer to sit on the outside and pick apart, and I don't know how that's going to go with Jesus Aguilar and how he closes the distance. Um, but he could use some work in the grappling department for sure. I believe he has like 6 losses total, and they're all submission. And we all know here that Jesus Aguilar likes to get them subs in. He's 29 years old with a 12-3 pro record. He is 4-2 in the UFC. He's a grappler, aggressive entries. He has a big submission threat. He does close the distance well with his fast strikes. He's a good boxer overall, though. Elite grappler. I would say his wrestling is definitely not as good as his grappling. he could shoot the takedowns. You know, he's fast, but just I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's just his grappling's a whole lot better. Um, the way he gets people to the ground is not always a grueling wrestling style. It's, you know, a stake, or he definitely can get into a clinch and then try to take the back from there. And then, you know, it looks a lot better. His only two losses in the UFC are to Rafael Estevan and Tatsuro Taira. You got an undefeated guy coming in the UFC with like 4 fights in a row, and then you got a guy that's getting ready to fight for the belt. I don't think those are bad losses at all. A lot better losses than Sumidarji. He kind of just he jumped Gilly on the Tyra fight, just lost position eventually and paid for it with a triangle armbar right there. And then with Estevan, he did get controlled a vast majority of the fight, but he looked to turn it up in the third. And I would say if that fight went another minute long, Jesus Aguilar could have pulled that out, honestly. And to be real, you guys aren't gonna like or he does tend to overthrow too. That could be a problem. He that could be a problem with Sumudaji, especially with the good, you know, evasiveness and counter strikes that, you know, that could be he tends to, most of his losses I would have to say are just straight IQ mistakes. Nothing as far as the skill. It's just IQ mistakes. Kind of gets excited, rushes in, gets caught or something like that. So yeah, we'll go. You guys aren't gonna like this one, but I want to go Jesus Aguilar. I just don't know if his wrestling is going to be able to get Sumidarji to the ground, and if Sumidarji is going to make a lot of striking mistakes. That's what I'm worried about. And the pick's going to be Sumidarji by decision. That's what the pick's going to be. I think he'll just get the better of the striking exchanges. I think he'll avoid the ground, but definitely the value here is in Jesus Aguilar. I believe he's like a plus. Let's see, I caught him at like a plus 200 flat or something like that, dog, like a day or two ago. Seeing that he was a plus 200, and I could not help but just lay like a little half a unit on there. I'm definitely going to be rooting for him as well, especially with some bread on it. But overall, I just see this fight going to a decision, and Sumidarji just getting the best of the striking. Pretty low confidence pick, as you can tell, but won't spend too much time on this one. Let's get into the next. We got Cody Durden taking on Nayem Jargal Timendumbuel. Why? Anyway, we got Cody Durden, 34 years old, with a 17-9-1 pro record. He is 6-7-1 in the UFC. Ouch. He is a wrestler, strong takedowns, gritty pace, good boxing combinations. He's been fighting the elites in the octagon, though. You got to give him that. So those losses aren't looking as bad now, you know, because it's only been the elite talent. Everyone else that's just average or coming up, you know, not elite, he's beating them. And I don't know if Niam Jagal is about that. I don't know if he's about that life. He's 27 years old with a 9-1 pro record. He is 1-1 in the UFC. His nickname is the Art of the Knockout. Oh man, he's a striker, obviously. Good boxing, fast starter. He has good front kicks and teeps. Decent grappling defense. Decent, though. He did lose his UFC debut to Carlos Hernandez, where he just got controlled. And I see that happening here again. Cody Durden, by decision, will be the pick. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Neither of these fighters really impress me. So I don't think my breath belongs here, but we're going to go Cody Durden by decision. Fought more elite competition. Heavily wrestling approach will be an issue for Niam Jagal. And Durden, I don't know, he might be the better striker here. I don't know. You can even just look at the statistics. On paper, he is. You know, on paper, he is. So I think this is going to be a good win for him. Definitely needs to get that record straightened out for sure. But yeah, Cody Durden by decision. Let's move on. Get into the featherweight division. We got Alberto Montes taking on Ricky Tercios. Alberto Montes, 31 years old with a 10-1 pro record. This is his UFC debut. He's a submission specialist, aggressive with some heavy output, decent grappling defense, sub looks all the time. Seems pretty well rounded though. His striking doesn't look too bad. He has some decent counters, And he gave a lot of sub looks in his Dana White's Contender Series win and ended up getting the sub eventually. And he has 6 subs in his 11 wins before the UFC, obviously. But I think this guy, he's looking pretty good. He's going to be taking on Ricky Turcios. 32 years old with a 12-5 pro record. He is 2-3 in the UFC. He's just a wild striker. That's it. No longer need to go talk about him now. He is a cardio machine, though, puts out a lot of volume. He's pretty mid in the striking, pretty mid in the grappling, but he does keep that good pace and cardio. He will keep going until finished or the bell rings. He doesn't like technical fights. He just likes them messy. That's where he excels. Overall, though, in his UFC career, he has been sharing the octagon with some pretty good talent. You got to give him that as well. But I don't think he's just good enough. I don't think the messiness is going to be able to stop getting subbed, and that's going to be the pick, Alberto Montez by submission. I think he's the more technical striker overall. I think he has a good enough gas tank to sustain this wild, exchanges that are going to be brought by Ricky Turcios. We'll see how he handles that UFC pressure. It's going to be his first time going against UFC pressure, so we'll see. But I think he has the tools in the bag. I think he has the striking, the defense, and I think he's going to be able to get this fight to the ground and control Ricky Turcios. So I think this is a good win for Alberto Montez. All right, let's get into the next fight. We're now climbing up into the middleweight division. We got Dante Johnson. Man, is he looking good? 7-0. He just had his first win versus Cedric Dumas in the UFC. He's strong pressure. He has some scary power. Looking like Tarzan over here. He's pretty composed in the octagon. And that's always a scary thing for opponents. That composure, that calmness that he carries. And, at the end of the day, all that just comes with confidence. And confidence is very key in this game. And UFC and in my game. It's all about confidence here. He picks his shots pretty wisely, though. He surprised everyone with that UFC debut after 6 KOs in a row and came out and subbed Cedric Dumas. So I would say he has a pretty high ceiling overall in the UFC. I think there is a lot of space and a lot of time, a lot of improving, a lot of finishes that he's going to be getting in this sport. I'm really excited to see him, how he goes on. But we have to start with the second fight in the UFC, which he'll be taking on Cody Brundage, who is 30 years old, 11-8 pro record, got that veteran record. He is a wrestler, though, with explosive scrambles, and he's tough. He's a crafty fighter, though. And, if I were to put on a Cody Brundage mixtape, a highlight reel, and you watch this guy, you'd think this guy's fighting for the belt because he's crafty. He has a pretty deep arsenal when we're talking about strikes. And he has good wrestling, but when you see his flying knee attempts and spinning kicks and combinations, it's like, man, this guy looks like he's ready for the belt. And then, and then you go look up the fight and he just be dropping the ball. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here versus Dante Johnson. I'm going to go with Dante Johnson by KO. I think he got his sub. He showed the UFC what he could do. I think it's time for him to, show the power now and start selling and work his way up. I think he understands the game, the entertainment. I think he understands that. This will be a good fight, though. I think until someone gets knocked out, which I think will be Cody Brundage, I think it will be a good fight, though. I think he'll show some of those highlight reel moves for a little bit before he gets brutally knocked out. Dante Johnson by KO. Let's get into the bantamweight division. We got Cody Garbrandt making a return to the octagon versus Long Zhao. This should be good. This should be pretty good. All right. We got Cody Garbrandt, 34 years old with a 14-7 pro record. He is the former champion. He is a former champion before TJ Dillashaw came and took it from him twice, but he is the former champion. Let's not forget that. He is a boxer, and it's crazy how long he's been fighting and how still fast he looks when it comes to the striking department. I'm not, I guess you could say he's slowed down just a tad bit, but he's still fast. Still faster than most of that division. most of the UFC when it comes to those hands. And he's fought the top talent for the last like 9, 10 years. He's been, that loss versus Figgy, that's his only sub loss, and it's Figgy. And then he recently lost to Ronnie Barcelos. Those are two good fighters, top level fighters. Those are top ten guys. I don't know what they're ranked, but I'll say that that's their skill set. He has some decent grappling defense as well, and he has 11 KOs in his career, so always be wary of that. Always be wary of that. He's going to be taking on Long Zhao, though, who is 27 years old, and he's a 27-10 pro record. He's also a veteran here in the game. Maybe not in the UFC as much, but he has a lot of fighting experience. And he's pretty well rounded, though. Aggressive, good pace, kind of relies on technique and toughness at the same time. Usually you don't see that combination. But he definitely likes to put together combinations. Clean. I really like his uppercut. It's sneaky, he likes to get a combination and then just throw that in there, and that can hurt some people. He likes to rip to the body too and then just bring it up top. He's down to exchange though. Even though he's technical, he's still down to get down there and get dirty. He's continuing to improve too, and he has pretty good cardio. But I think with the miles he has, I think he's gonna lose. I think Cody Garbrandt makes a little return. I think he's been fighting some good guys, and people are tending to overlook him. And now he's getting a kind of a lob win almost. I'm not gonna call it a lob. I'm tripping on that. But I think the XP is gonna play a role here. I think it's gonna be a big factor, even though Xiaolong has a lot of fights outside the UFC. I think he's just a slightly better striker here, though. And unless Long has really improved and shown strides, I think Cody Garbrandt has him in at least the boxing department. I won't say striking, but at least the boxing department. This is a low confidence pick, though. But why not go for the dog and Cody Garbrandt, the former champ? Why not? I went for Brandon Moreno last weekend and that loss. Different story though. Lonier Kavanaugh had a lot less miles and everything like that. So yeah, Cody Garbrandt by decision. Let's get into the main card. And before we talk about this fight, make sure if you haven't already, go hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, tell me your dog plays, tell me who you think is gonna, your most confident picks. Talk to me here in the comments, man. We can meet. I always respond. Let's go ahead and break this down. We got Gregory Rodriguez taking on Bruno Ferreira. This is the second time they are fighting. The first time they fought, Bruno Ferreira knocked out Gregory Rodriguez. Gregory Rodriguez is 33 years old with an 18-6 pro record. I want to say he's like 6, 7, 8 or something like that, and 2 or 3 in the UFC. I think he's only lost to Bruno Ferreira, Jared Cannonier, and someone else. But he's coming off that win versus Roman Kopylov. He has big knockout power. He is a BJJ black belt. Technical striking, good wrestling. He can get people to the ground pretty well. He likes to box and then try to get the top control and then get some ground and pound off. He's a scary force in the middleweight division overall, though. Versus that fight versus Bruno Ferreira, it's like he was almost, he was kind of winning the fight and then just kind of got a little excited and pushed in and just got caught. So that's what happens in these divisions. This is what happens when you're in the big divisions. One mistake can put you waking up to the lights. My thing is Bruno Ferreira, 32 years old, 15-2. I want to say he's like 6-1 in the UFC or something like that. He's a first round big danger, heavy hooks. He looks for that overhand right a lot. He has really decent grappling, elite submissions which he's shown. He had a super close fight with Marvin Vettori, but I think it was a little too close. I almost think Marvin Vettori, I wouldn't have been mad if they would have called it his way honestly, but it was very competitive, very good fight. And I think that's a really good look for him, though, to have a win over Marvin Vettori, someone who was just recently fighting for the title a couple years ago. But he's a pretty athletic fighter overall, somewhat early in his UFC career, and he seems to be improving. The one thing I don't like about this fight is I know that he had that fight before Marvin Vettori versus Jackson McVeigh, which is not nowhere on the level that these guys are. But he did have that Marvin Vettori fight and kind of brought himself back up to that level to be able to handle this. Now, my brain is saying Gregory Rodriguez. That's what my brain is telling me. But it's like, I have an angel on this side going Gregory Rodriguez. And then I have the devil on this side just nudging me. Like, come on. The Hulk, Bruno Ferreira. It already happened once. Why can't it happen again? I think Gregory Rodriguez just has a little less miles. He looks way older. He looks like he could be his dad, but he's only a year older. And I don't know. My heart's telling me Bruno Ferreira. I think he's gonna repeat it. I think he will repeat it. Who knows? He might even, get a sub or something. I don't know. I don't know if I see Gregory Rodriguez getting sub, but I'm gonna go Bruno Ferreira by KO. We're going with the dog here. We're going with the guy who did it the first time. We're going with the guy who still looks like, he is improving. That's who we're gonna go with here. Low confidence pick. But we'll get into the next fight. We're getting into the lightweight division. We got Drew Dober taking on Michael Johnson. Ooh, battle of the old heads, man. Good old fashioned scrap. We got Drew Dober, 37 years old, with a 28-15 pro record. I don't even want to talk about his record's like 15-14 in the UFC or something like that. Heavy hands though. He's a power striker, durable to an extent. Like he has a chin, obviously, as you can see, but like he does get he got finished by Manuel Torres bad. So it's really hard to sit there and gloat that defined rock chiseled chin right there. But yeah. Overall, though, he's a great striker. He looks to exchange and make a wild fight. He's definitely entertaining. It's hard to hate on the guy. Goes out there and gives it his all. He did just have a win versus Kyle Prepolek, and he had a KO win. And Kyle Prepolek, I believe, he never had been knocked out prior to that fight. Who knows? His power's probably still there, big. But he puts it on the line, gets decent volume over the fight, and he does have a sub threat. He's going to be taking on Michael Johnson. He's 24-19 pro record. He is the menace. He's a southpaw striker with fast hands and dangerous counters. He's coming off a win versus Daniel Zellhuber. That was what the kind of the huff and puff was for. Yeah, he upset me. He upset a lot of people, I think, that night. The fast hands were the story. The boxing, the great combinations that he throws were definitely the story of that fight, and that's going to be the story in this fight as well. There's going to be some good strikes on each other. They're going to hurt each other for sure. They are going to hurt each other for sure. Overall, though, this is a hard pick. Michael Johnson, one thing I want to point out is he lacks in the grappling. He really does, and he can get subbed. This is a really tricky one. I almost want to do one of those, alternative double chance method of victories. Give you guys two picks, but we can't do that. I think his confidence is going to be pretty good after beating a young up-and-comer like Daniel Zellhuber, even though that has not aged well at all. But at the same time, those, the grappling holes. I'm going to go Drew Dober by submission. I think he gets it. I think he's going to get him subbed up. I think his chin holds up. Michael Johnson's fast, way faster with the hands. I think Drew Dober might get some respect with the hands, and then as soon as he gains that respect, I expect a takedown to be shot, expect this fight to get to the ground, and expect Drew Dober to look for a submission. That's going to be the final pick. Drew Dober by submission. Let's move on. Rob Font taking on Raul Rosas Jr. Rob Font, 38 years old with a 22-9 pro record. He's 12-8 in the UFC, but those 8 losses come from very good fighters. He is a boxer with an elite jab, high volume. He looks to put the pressure. He has KO power in those hands. He's a pretty good chin. He's never been knocked out. He has one submission loss earlier in his career. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, he's been fighting just top level, and he beats good fighters. Not the great ones, but he beats the good ones. And we're going to find out if Raul Rosas is good or if he's great. If you could beat Rob Font, I think you're going in the right direction to get a title shot. I think that's where he's at. He's kind of gatekeeper somewhat lower level. He's not like a Gilbert Burns gatekeeper. Like you beat Gilbert Burns, I almost automatically think you should be getting like a title eliminator or something. Like I don't know if Rob Font's exactly on that level, but he's about there. He's gonna be taking on the 21-year-old Raul Rosas Jr., the rising star El Nino Problema Chiwiwis. He is the co-founder or the founder of Chiwiwis organization. He's an aggressive grappler, though. He has fast starts with a big submission threat. This is going to be a big step up in competition for him. I can't even lie about that, but we'll see if his striking's improving. He has decent striking, and you could see some improvements. He's still young. He's a well-known fighter now. I've been back and forth on this card, and this is one of them. I had Rob Font at first. I had Rob. I'm like, Raul Rosas ain't ready. But then I started looking back at Rob Font's fights and just seeing some people who were able to take him down. I didn't like it. I didn't like it a whole lot. Raul Rosas Jr. by submission. Let's get it. Rob Font's just shown those wrestling holes. Raul Rosas has had some time off. I think he's, I trust he's just been working in the gym. He keeps this fight smart on the feet, shows good IQ, utilizes a good jab or something, or kind of get some respect early on to keep Rob Font off him and then some shots. I think this fight's all his. A little wild on the prediction, I will admit. Don't hold me to it. Don't tell blindly. But Raul Rosas Jr. by submission will be the pick. Let's get into the co-main event of the evening. We got Kyle Barallo taking on Rainer de Ritter, RDR. I didn't see this one coming. We got Kyle Barallo, 32 years old, with a 17-2 pro record. He is 7-1 in the UFC. He's a pretty good grappler. Honestly, he's pretty pressure heavy. He has strong control, very well rounded. Powerful combinations on the feet as well. He got his first UFC loss versus Nazarin Imavov, where he just got simply outstruck. Not bad, but he got outstruck. Overall, though, he is very dangerous. He's one of the fighting nerds left, I should say. Got Mauricio Rufy leaving. He's going to be taking on Rainer de Ritter, RDR, who just dropped the ball versus Brandon Allen. He has a 21-3 pro record. He's 4-1 in the UFC with his only loss coming from Brandon Allen. He is a submission specialist, elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's pretty dangerous off the back too. Once you're on top of him, you're not really in a super great position unless you're someone like Brandon Allen. And he claimed he had the virus, some sort of virus during that fight. I guess that's going to all kind of show right now because Barallo looks to push the pressure. He had a great dogfight with Bobby Knuckles before that. So that's the only reason why I almost have faith that there could be some truth to something like that. Or it could have been some page just posting that as an excuse. And that's what I've been kind of using to cope with the money I lost on him. How about that? Anyway, he has crafty combinations, dangerous knees up the middle. He's an awkward, slick striker, and he's had a good run so far coming into the UFC. He's a pretty high-level fighter, really high-level fighter, and so is Kyle Barallo. I'm gonna put my trust and faith in Rainer de Ritter. I don't think Barallo has enough gritty pressure. I think he tries to sit back and get combinations off a lot more often, more than often. And I think Rainer de Ritter's going to be able to get some slick strikes during those exchanges and hope, I don't know how things will go on the ground. That's where it gets tricky. That's where it gets really tricky. If Barajo looks to approach with a heavy grappling approach and really push the pace and test his cardio, the fight's all his if he can replicate what Brandon Allen did. If, Rainer de Ritter was actually, going through something, I think he gets back on his feet with this win. I think he does. I think the technical skills and the grappling are going to be a pretty level playing field. And I don't know if Kyle's going to get enough output. I think RDR is going to get the win by decision. I know he has the more significant strikes landed per minute. Not against RDR. Not against guys like RDR. I could say it's somewhat of a low confidence pick. But yeah, RDR by decision. Yeah, we're picking some dogs on this card. I like it. All right. Before we get into this next fight, if you haven't already, again, go ahead, drop a comment. Tell me what you thought of the dog picks that I threw out there. Also, go ahead, share the video. If you got another MMA goon out there, UFC goon, go and share the video. Go put the word out there about Rhythm Bets. You know, support the boy. Make sure you go follow the Instagram, Juice Reels, Discord. Email me if you like the beat you hear playing in the background. Let's get into this main event of the evening. The BMF title, Max Bless Holloway, is going against Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. This is a great fight. Very great fight. Oh, man, get chills right now just thinking about it. Max Holloway, 34 with a 27-8 pro record. He is 23-8 in the UFC. He's a volume striker, the best volume striker there is out there. Endless cardio, endless combinations, championship experience as well as Oliveira. He has one of the best sets of hands ever seen in the UFC, though. He is a walking Hall of Famer. Again, so is Oliveira. And I can't get over. And it was some time ago. There's been some fights after, but I can't get over that Justin Gaethje knockout, man. It was just great. It's great to see it. Love to see it. It was a legendary moment. Probably one of the best knockouts I've ever seen in the UFC. He's coming off a strong performance versus Dustin Poirier. Just showed him who's still the man, who still got the hands. He does make it a point to point down the middle. You know, fuck it. We're gonna get. It's just the way when he's fighting Justin Gaethje and he's up. He's up. He's winning the fight. He did the same thing versus Charles or Dustin Poirier. He's up. He's winning the fight, and he still says, "Let's go. Let's put it on the line." It's a BMF. It's a BMF right there, and he well deserves that title. Well deserves it. He lives to scrap. He's just a fighter. He's a fighter. He's the fighter's fighter. He's the people's fighter. He's just one truly for the fans. He's out there fighting for us. He's fighting for himself. He's fighting for his girl. He's he's of course, but he's putting it on for us. I really believe that. I really believe it's not about the money for this guy. I really believe it. Truly. And same goes for Charles Do Bronx Oliveira, who is 36 years old with a 36-11 pro record. He's 24-11 in the UFC. He's a submission finisher, record-setting submissions, violent clinch game, killer instinct overall. Coming off an impressive win versus Montez Gamrot, where, we cashed in on that. A nice parlay with him and Figgy carrying it, the two Brazilians, but we won't get too into that, but very impressive win right there. His striking is still very elite. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on the striking of Charles Oliveira. He's shown that he could put you out with those nasty kicks and nasty elbows. Don't forget about those. He has great combinations as well. Also, like I said, he is another walking Hall of Famer. He's the people's fighter. I think a lot of people might be going more for Charles Oliveira in this one over Max Holloway. But as much as time I just spent on talking about the fighters, but let's just talk about the fight. This exact fight. It's an interesting matchup here because you got an elite striker. I would say Max Holloway is definitely the better boxer for sure. Oh, I don't know if I want to say better striker, but he's the better boxer easily. But Charles Oliveira has a crazy grappling edge. Does Max Holloway get subbed? No, not really. Charles Oliveira, though, is nasty on the ground. Honestly, if you want to talk straight MMA, pure MMA, and tools and arsenal, Charles Oliveira is better in that realm. If you want to talk that, he has more tools. He has different type of strikes. He has the knees. He has the double switch knees. He has the elbows. He has the hooks. The Muay Thai. Yes, Max Holloway has good clinch striking, but at the end of the day, he's known for his hands. He has good kicks, but he is known for the hands. But his hands are just so good that just doesn't really need to do much more. He does beat grapplers. Max Holloway, like 10 title fights. I think, what does Charles Oliveira have, like maybe 11 or 10-2 or something? They're both up there. I'm going to get to the pick. If Charles Oliveira can't take the back here, I don't see him winning. What I see is Max Holloway getting a knockout. That's the pick. This is tough. This is the tough one. I love this fight. This is just a great fight. This is a great fight. I'm going to be rooting and picking Max Holloway. I just think with that BMF title right there, this ain't no championship fight. It is, but not, you guys know. I think Max Holloway I think he gets the hands off. I think he keeps Charles Oliveira for shooting. I think the volume is what makes a lot of people not just try to bully wrestle him. I think the striking, the jab, that constant jab, I think it all plays in his favor here. I won't be mad if Charles Oliveira wins. I won't be surprised if Charles Oliveira wins. If Charles Oliveira goes out there and knocks him out, I will be surprised. I won't be mad though. It would be great to see that too, you know. But I think overall the hands are going to dictate this story. I've never seen Max Holloway really just get dominated on the ground bad. I'm running back in the memory. He got took down by Volk? It don't matter. Yeah, great fight. Max Holloway by KO. Long shot call right there. Guys, thank you for tuning in to Rhythm Bets Breakdowns UFC 326. Go ahead, drop a comment, tell me what you thought of the video, tell me what picks you disagree with or you heavily agree with. Go ahead and follow the Instagram, follow me on Juice Reels, join the Discord. Go ahead and message me if you enjoy the beat that you are hearing right now. Guys, I'm excited to break down these fights. One thing before I get off, especially, you know, if you're a real one, you're still on here right now. I've been dropping videos a little later in the weeks. Now we're going to be dropping a lot earlier. We're working on getting more content out for you guys. I'm going to start doing actual betting insight videos where I just talk strictly about the betting side of things. We're out of the octagon now. Now we're on paper. Now we're talking lines, talking odds, all that good stuff. So we're looking to bring that to you. I'm also looking to start bringing some recap videos as well, so I can, you know, break down what I thought of the fight after it happens. We're working on all these things to bring you guys. Thank you for tuning in and staying with me at this very beginning of this journey. Really appreciate you guys. Out. Rhythm Bets.